We have a lot of stories here. Got to get straight into it. Liberals complain about nuclear option and immediately regret it. Bombshell dropped about domestic U.S. spying and it's really bad. Breaking RNC releases statement destroying Dems on filibuster. Bill Mitchell to Dems, Trump just won again. And CNN exploits a child to push for a war in Syria. They're all pretty quick, so we're going to get right into them. Liberals have forgotten about Harry Reid in 2013 that made the nuclear option an option. One lib went on Twitter and posted this disingenuous comment after the GOP invoked the option for the Gorsuch confirmation. Michael Skolnick. The only way Republicans can get something done in Washington is by changing the rules. That's how dictatorships act. The Legionnaire tweets, Michael Skolnick, amnesia is a horrible thing. Or ignorance. Perhaps just ignorance? Nah, you remember Harry Reid in 2013? Yes, you do. Ooh. Oh man, that was perfect. That was good. That was good. I must say, amnesia is a horrible thing. Or ignorance. Perhaps just ignorance? Nah. You remember Harry Reid in 2013? Yeah. Yeah, you do. The only way Republicans can get anything done in Washington, okay. Michael Skolnick, okay, says it again. Deep State Hammy. Michael Skolnick, because Democrats would never do such a thing. Nuclear option. Thanks. And then Senator Harry Reid. Thanks to all of you who encouraged me to consider filibuster reform back in 2013. Ooh, it had to be done. Thanks to all of you who encouraged me to consider the filibuster reform. It had to be done. It just had to. Michael Skolnick saying the same thing, no answers. Someone replies to him, Mike Skolnick, what did they call it when the Democrats did it in 2003 and in 2013? No answer from my boy here. Michael Skolnick, were you complaining when Harry Reid did the same thing? Jesus deep state. The Dems did this recently with Reid and had the Senate. It's a bipartisan problem, not a GOP one. Just following the Democrats' lead, you guys were warned. Say hello to karma. Michael Skolnick thanking Harry Reid for changing Senate rules. He did it for Obama, and now it's biting the Democrats in the butt. Yep, it's true. Denise. Michael's... No. I agree with Senator Reid. We must change the rules of the Senate and reform the filibuster to get the Washington working again. Harry Reid filibuster reform will be pursued in the next Congress. You don't like a particular policy or a particular president, go out there and win an election. He's doing that. Wow. That was a little longer than I thought it would be, but that was great. That was great. Okay. So, going back in. Bombshell dropped about domestic U.S. spying, and it's really bad. The U.S. foreign agencies routinely unmask U.S. lawmakers and have their personal conversations and identities shared. The U.S. government's foreign surveillance incidentally collects information on lawmakers and their staff as often as once a month, according to the new report. Congress frequently receives alerts that its members and their aides have been unmasked and their identities shared with intelligence and law enforcement forces. Sursa says on Thursday. Sursa said such alerts named the Gates notification after former CIA Director Robert Gates go to the Gang of Eight leadership team in Congress. The Gang of Eight includes the Speaker of the House, Minority Leader, the state Democratic and Republican leaders, and the bipartisan heads of both chambers' intelligence committees. Sierra added, the lawmakers often don't learn about such unmasking unless it involves a hacking or a security threat. Intelligence community sources speaking on the condition of the anatomy confirmed by Sierra that lawmakers' names may appear in Executive Branch intelligence reports. Reports emerged Monday that former National Security Advisor Susan Rice requested the identities of U.S. citizens in raw intelligence reports connected to President Trump's transition team. And you can find more about that at The Hill. Next, RNC releases statement destroying Dems on filibuster. RNC on statement Democrats unprecedented Supreme Court filibuster. Okay, so for them to filibuster is unprecedented, is what they're saying. It is huge. And if you listen to Sean Spicer during his press releases recently, you'll hear him say a lot of times, this would be extremely bad for our democracy and for America. And it's extremely unprecedented. Washington, the Republican National Committee Chairwoman Ronna Daniel released the following statement on Senate Democrats' unprecedented filibuster of George Gorsuch's confirmation to the U.S. Supreme Court. The American people have had enough of Democrats' hypocrisy and obstructionism, said Chairwoman McDaniel. Voters across the country chose President Trump to pick the next Supreme Court justice. And by nominating Judge Neil Gorsuch, he picked a mainstream conservative with unparalleled bipartisan support. By participating in an unprecedented partisan filibuster, Senate Democrats are making clear they are more interested in political grandstanding than doing what's best for the people who were elected to represent. We cannot afford to risk deteriorating public trust in our nation's highest courts by letting the Democrats continue playing political games. It is time for the filibuster to end and for Judge Gorsuch to get the vote he deserves on the Senate floor. Ooh, that was great. That was great. That was great. Bill Mitchell to Dems. Trump just won again. After GOP invoked the nuclear option, clearing the way for Gorsuch's confirmation, huge Trump supporter Mitchell claims big victory for President Trump. Republicans invoke the Reid option. You know what that means because of what we just read, right? See, we're learning. Republicans just kicked sand in the Democrat bully's face for once. Hashtag Reid option, hashtag Gorsuch. Democrats don't look now, but Trump just won again. Reid's chickens just came home and crapped in the Democrats' punch bowl. Yeah. See this? You know who puts that there on our page? And the girl with the messed up pimples on her back? And whatever that is? You're going to say I'm crazy, right? But you know what? All those paid Soros money that's going to all these different organizations, guess what? They're putting this crap on our page. So one, we have to see it, which we don't want to. And two, they could say, look at these disgusting people and what they have on their site. And I'm sure that it doesn't tie back to them in any way. They covered their trail. But I'm telling you, people like me would never have this on our page. Not on something like this. Come on. This is just wrong. Stop putting that here. Please, we don't want to see that. And this is not even the worst of it. So I have to look at literally just for no reason a shot of someone's intestines on the side with some dumb thing like about belly fat. But they're showing just intestines and the innards of people. And that's what I have to look at in my peripheral vision. That's why I zoom in, if you didn't know. That's why I zoom in so much on everything, because to the right of everything else is this garbage. Yeah. So if I seem perturbed, you could blame them for that. CNN. Let's see. Beautiful, wonderful people they are. Just exploited a child to push for a war in Syria. The mainstream media has not ceased its coverage of the alleged chemical attack on Syrian rebels by President Assad. CNN has now had a child read a script on live TV in the countries pursuant to the emotional effect that would trigger a military action by Congress. So they want a war in Syria, and so they're making up stories and exploiting a child. CNN is calling its 7-year-old Syrian girl's heartbreaking plea to stop the war in Syria. In reality, it's a fake news hoax to get Trump administration to overthrow Assad and turn on Russia. The top story on CNN's front page today is a disgusting Iraq has WMD's style fake news story to con America into another war. Under the title, 7-year-old Syrian girl's heartbreaking plea, why can't you stop the war? CNN's anchor Alison Camerado is seen interviewing a 7-year-old Syrian girl named Bana Alaman. Camerado asks her, Bana, do you blame President Assad for this chemical attack? She asks the 7-year-old that. And the 7-year-old responds, yes. What's your message to President Assad, 7-year-old? I'm very sad, Bana says, looking down and blatantly reading off a script. A lot of dead, she says, clearly struggling to read and skipping over the word people, or Syrians. And, oh, she stutters. No one helped them. The world is watching, she stammers. The world doesn't do anything. It goes on for another minute with Bana struggling to read her clearly pre-written propaganda lines. Eventually she asks, why you? Why can't you stop the war? I don't know, Bana. I don't know why the world can't stop the war in Syria. Someday, a torn Camerado responds, ignoring how incredibly fake and staged the entire shameless stunt she just took part in is. Now, this is just an epitome of fake news, and it is 1,000 times more dangerous to our country than some schmuck in Macedonia writing about fake endorsements from the Pope. You know, I don't know where this whole thing just came from, but it sounds ridiculous to me anyway. And I hope not true. And I hope it is fake news, because that's pretty sad if it is true. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm going to stop it there. We did a bunch of other